Hi everyone!
Hi there.
We are in the backstage of Women Tech Founders Awards, and I am having a really special woman with me here, interviewing her today. Her name is Ellen Rogin. Ellen is a motivational speaker, TEDx presenter, money expert, consultant, writer of a New York Times bestseller, entrepreneur, turning people's vision into reality. Now Ellen, I love your mindset, and I knew I wanted to interview you after the first few sentences you said. Like, your mindset is really unbelievable. And I could talk days about your success, but I really want to focus on your answers today. So I would suggest we just start with the first question.
Perfect.
Who are you as a person? Who is Ellen?
Wow. So who is Ellen?
Yeah.
So the first thing that came to mind is I think I'm a really optimistic person.
Yes.
I don't know if you know what a Pollyanna is, but that's an expression here in the United States. It's someone who always sees things in the brightest light.
Okay.
And I like to see things in the most positive ways. And interestingly enough, the more I've studied about optimism and having a positive attitude, studies have shown that not only does it feel good, but people that have more optimistic attitudes tend to be more successful and make more money besides feeling good.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I consider myself as a positive person, so thank you for that.
Perfect.
What does personal growth mean to you?
Oh wow, personal growth. I don't see a way to live in the world without always wanting to grow. You know, if you're not growing, you're shrinking, and to me, one of the most important things is constantly figuring out how to learn more, how to grow to be a better person. I like to do that through reading, through experiences. I love travel. That's been one of the best ways that I've learned to grow.
Yes.
And also really, I've done a lot of personal development in terms of workshops and looking at myself in ways to figure out how I can be better at everything that I try to do.
Is it important to grow as an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur, your life really is your business. It's hard to separate the two.
That's true.
And actually in business, at one point I had a business that I was moving away from and wanting to do more speaking and writing, and I thought to myself originally, oh, I just won't grow that business. And what I learned pretty quickly is even in actual business, not even in personal growth, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. So I realized that was a bad strategy. I had to continue to grow that as I was trying to grow a different business.
Okay, that's great. If you could ask yourself a question, what would that question be? One question.
Wow, if I could ask myself a question,
any kind of question.
what would that question be?
Because I know you get interviewed a lot, so.
Oh, that kind of question, not like a personal question.
Oh, it can be personal.
Okay, so so one of the questions I like being asked is, so I came from a financial background. I helped people with their personal finances. And that background tends to be very analytical, and I have a lot of letters after my name. I'm a CPA and a certified financial planner, yet I really like looking at the mindset around money. So one of the questions I really like being asked is, even though I have this very traditional background, how I developed the kind of more alternative way of looking at prosperity and money. And what happened was, over the years, I worked with lots of people with lots of money, and I saw some of them were very happy and very successful and had great lives and great relationships. And then I saw other people who had a lot of financial success, but weren't necessarily as content in their lives.
Oh, yes.
And if you think about it, if you know somebody with lots of money and maybe they do everything the way they're supposed to by the book, but they go home at night and they kick their dog and they fight with their partner, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? That's not good. And then there's the other people that tend to be very creative and intuitive and artistic, and they think they're not good with money.
Yes.
And if they're sitting on their meditation pillow, chanting Om and not taking any action in real life, that doesn't work either. And what I learned over the years is when you marry the tactical taking action in the world with the vision and the creativity and the goal setting, that's really where the magic happens.
How to change the negative perspective about money?
A lot of that comes from what you learned and saw growing up around money.
Okay.
Like these beliefs that you had. Maybe you heard your parents or saw your parents acting a certain way around money, or judging people like, oh, they're filthy rich. That's an expression here.
Yes.
Or rich people are crooks. Well, if you believe that, why would you ever want to be rich?
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
you don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
But money is just a medium of exchange. It doesn't make you, it's what you do with it. And your mindset, if you think that there's something wrong with making money, that's a huge roadblock for you ever being successful in your own business.
Exactly.
And as an entrepreneur, it's super important for you to be able to be open to receiving money coming in, because it's really hard to run a business without money coming in, and you can't do your good work in the world if you're really serving people in your business or serving people with how you're out there in the world. The financial part of it's really a reality.
Yeah, exactly. What's your view of the money? Like, what is money for you?
So money for me, when I was in college or university, I studied economics, and what they taught you there, that money is a medium of exchange. We know that it means more than that, though.
Yeah.
So your question's really like, what does it really mean to me? And for me, personally, money's a way for me to make a contribution in the world. So it's a way for financial security for my family. It was a way for me to help educate our children. But it's also a way for me to make contributions through generosity and supporting causes and people that I really believe in.
Oh, this is so powerful. But how to grow your wealth and still stay happy?
Well, generosity is one of the best ways to do that.
Okay.
I like to say that generosity is really the new currency in business.
Okay.
So whether that's having a generous viewpoint, when you're thinking about your business goals,
Yes.
really looking at how you can serve other people with that. So not just how you can help yourself and your family and accumulating money for yourself, but how you can also be out there serving. Goals happen much more quickly when you're focusing not just on your own benefit, but how you can serve other people as well.
Exactly. When did your entrepreneurial path begin? Like, when did you get the feeling, I can really help people with my knowledge?
So the entrepreneurial path began when I was very little, because I saw my parents being entrepreneurs. My dad had his own business.
Okay.
When I went off to university, my mother started her own business. She gave tours of Chicago. In terms of when I really realized I could serve people, so most of my career was in the financial services industry, which is very based on analytical goals. So most of the people in the industry focus on revenues or profits, number of new clients. And when there was a big recession in the early 2000s, and then again in 2008, 2009, I got so clear that what people really needed was my advice. And really, when I really focused on how I could serve them, my business skyrocketed. In a recession, my business grew 40% in 1 year, and I really attributed a lot to, instead of focusing on me and clients I got, I focused on how I could serve other people.
Okay. What were some of did you do some research of your market?
No, I just changed my viewpoint.
Okay, you just changed your viewpoint.
Yeah,
Okay.
Granted, I took action, but people get a sense if you're really there to serve them, or if you're just trying to serve yourself.
Yeah, they can feel your energy.
Yeah, and it is important to do both. Like, I want to serve the people I work with, and I also have to be open to receiving what comes in as well.
So you think that if you give the knowledge out, that you get it back somehow? Like,
yes. So I have always told our children when they were growing up, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And that means what I put out, I get back, but not necessarily from the same person.
Yes, exactly.
So if I help you in your business,
Yes.
maybe you'll help me back. Maybe you never will have the opportunity, but all of a sudden the business will come from somewhere else, and often unexpected. So I believe what you put out comes back to you. What you sow, you reap. And so, for example, early on in my business, when I wanted more referrals, I would be out there giving more referrals. So who can I give business to? And again, not giving it with an expectation of something coming back directly from that person, but with an expectation that what you put out in the world always flows back to you.
Okay, so referrals in the beginning. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Do you ever say no to, I don't know, to potential clients?
Oh, yeah.
How did you learn that?
Well, I learned to say no when you work with enough people that there's not a good fit for.
Yeah.
And at the beginning it's hard because you really want a business, you're excited for anyone that hires you. But I learned very early on, if it's not a good fit,
Yeah.
then it doesn't work for anyone. So when I was helping people with their personal finances, for example, if people were big overspenders, that they had a lot of debt, credit card debt, it wasn't a good fit for me. I didn't know how to help them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, oh, I'll try, I have these skills, and it never worked. And when I finally realized those aren't people I can help, and I would say, no, I'm really not the person for you, and refer them on to someone else, things got much better.
You got better. You got better clients in?
Got better clients in, and I was certainly happier.
Okay, cool. What does success mean to you? Like, what's your definition of success? Because you're a very successful person.
Yeah. So, well, now I'm really focusing on how success is doing what I feel is my work in the world.
Oh, nice.
And really going in, I have sold a prior business, and now I'm out there trying to really help lots of people figure out how to create prosperity on purpose, and be able to do the work that I really feel like I'm meant to do in the world feels like success.
Okay.
Feels like success to have great relationships with my family and my friends.
Yeah.
To have health. It's
Yeah.
not all about the money. It's like mostly not about the money. I mean, we need it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to ignore that. We need a roof over our head and food on the table, and it's a lot easier to do things when it's flowing in. But I also know that's not the thing that makes people happy.
Exactly. What do you think that successful people have in common?
I believe successful people have the right mindset. That they think in terms of abundance versus scarcity. So what do I mean by that? Like a scarcity mindset is this thought that there's only so much to go around. It's a competitive mindset. So for me to win, you have to lose.
Okay.
This like aggressive competition. Sometimes that shows up just in people's daily life. Like if something great happens to a friend or someone you know, and at some level you're not excited for them, you're judging. Like, oh, well, they got this great job, but, you know, they were manipulative or something. You're not happy for them. That's scarcity. Abundance is there's more than enough to go around. And to be thrilled when good things happen to people that you know in their lives. And having this viewpoint that things are always happening to serve you. And even at the moment, if it seems difficult, there's always something to learn. That's more of an abundance mindset. And that's how I think people end up being truly successful.
What about setting goals?
Oh, setting goals is great.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, for some people setting goals can be really stressful because they're worried that, well, what if they don't get them? So it's to know that I happen to be someone that loves having a vision and setting goals, but I'm also appreciative that for other people it can be really stressful for them. I also think that it's important to be discerning about who you share your goals with.
Okay, why?
Because, well, so I'll give an example that comes to mind. When our kids were little, I remember my daughter being about 7 years old, and I shared with her my goal was to do a lot more speaking and travel. Well, she didn't want me gone.
Okay.
Right? Like that was not a goal that she would be supportive. She happens to be someone who's very powerful and a good manifester. So I feel like her energy out there wasn't necessarily supportive for me growing that. And, you know, I certainly wanted to be there with her. But sometimes people, even the people you love most in your life, might have a different agenda. So you may feel like they're supportive, but maybe they're not the best people for you to share your goals with.
Yeah, maybe sometimes our best friends are like that as well. Yeah, I can feel what you're saying, yes. What about vision boards? Because we created one with you.
Right, so we did a workshop together. I like to call them prosperity pictures, which are very similar to a vision board, which a vision board is a way to take images of goals and things that you want in your life and put pictures up that represent them. prosperity picture is a little bit different in that the frame has quadrants. So on the bottom of the frame, you put images that represent goals you want to that don't really require much money. And the top part of your frame, it's for images that require money. On the left side, it's for goals that you want to have happen sooner, 5 years or less. And the right side, goals for later, 5 years or more. The wonderful thing about having a visual image, well, there's two things. One, creating the board sometimes brings up goals that you didn't even know that you had.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
so in the workshop we did together, I gave you 32 images. And when I originally went through this process with my husband, one of the images in the pack that he used was of a sailboat. And he put it on his board, and I asked him what it meant. And he said, well, I've always wanted to take a trip around the world with friends in a sailboat. And I was like, wow. So I'd been married at the time, maybe 25 years, 26 years. I never knew that was a goal of his.
Okay.
And luckily, when he said friends, I'm like, do you mean your friends? Because I don't want to be on a sailboat.
Yeah.
But sometimes it spurs goals that you have. And the other thing that it does is it helps you, most of us are visual people. And so when you have a vision picture up of something that you want to create, it keeps that in your mind or your consciousness. So then you start to pay attention when things might come up. So I shared the story about how I want to go to Australia and I want to speak there, right? So I have on my prosperity picture a picture of Australia. And so because that's in front of me all the time, whenever I hear someone with an Australian accent, I make a beeline. And I ask them, so like, oh, tell me more about that. I think I might want to live there some point. I've never been there. So it's just a way of keeping your goals in front of you.
Okay, that's very interesting. I was in Australia, so maybe I can give you some tips.
I would love that. I do think
or
I want
connect you with some people.
Good.
Okay, when did you create your first vision board, and how did that help you maybe to grow or develop?
Oh, years ago. It was in. It's interesting you say that because I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but it was probably maybe 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I remember there was a picture of a house that was really beautiful, and we lived in a small apartment then. Eventually we moved into a house. Didn't exactly look like that house, but interestingly enough, our next door neighbor's house looks a lot like the house that was on my original board. And it just, I really wish I still had it because I have a feeling that it would be up there. But I know on my more recent prosperity pictures, I've redone them about every 6 months because things have started to show up just because I have them on there. And I take action. It's not just about having the pictures.
Okay. What do you think about positive versus negative thoughts? How they affect us? How they affect our lives?
Right. So it's said that we have somewhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day.
Okay.
And most of them are negative. They're not saying like, oh, you're awesome, I think you're great, or this is going to work out perfectly. But the issue is when what you focus on most comes into your life. And so the more you can think good thoughts, we talked at the beginning about being optimistic, they found that good thoughts make you feel better, they increase your health. We can talk ourselves into diseases and all sorts of things.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes some work to create more positive thoughts in your life.
How to do that?
Well, one thing is to turn off the news.
Perfect.
So there's not a lot of good news on the news. They can't sell advertising with like, oh, everything's great. Here's puppies and rainbows and unicorns, right? That doesn't sell. And the way that the media makes money is through selling advertising. Studies have found that just 5 minutes of watching the news in the morning makes you significantly more unhappy than watching no news by the end of the day.
Okay.
So turning off the news. Sometimes it's turning off your devices. Being in nature, really refreshing. And especially in our busy lives, it's hard to do that. I'm a big believer in meditation and mindfulness and calming things down. Where it's our attention is drawn in so many different directions these days that it's hard to calm down and feel peaceful when there's all that stimulus coming in. So just finding some silence, focusing on your breath, being with nature.
What's your daily routine? Do you have it?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah,
What is it?
I like to get up very early in the morning.
When is that?
Well, lately it's been a little too early. It's
Okay.
been like 3:30, but that's too early. So between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, I like to get up. The first thing I do is meditate for at least 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then I have something called a 5-minute journal, which is this book that I got. These are certain questions. You don't need the book, but you can get it online. And it has me writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for. Gratitude is a really wonderful way to increase your happiness level, and focusing on it first thing in the day sets the tone.
I have the same routine.
Do you?
Yes, the same. Okay, perfect. Just continue.
In the 5-minute journal, the next thing after the 3 things you're grateful for is 3 things that would make today great.
Okay.
So one of them was that we have a really great conversation that was on my thing today, and that it was fun, and that I had value for people listening. So 3 things that make it great, and then an affirmation, an I am statement.
Okay.
I am enough, I am happy, I am, creative, whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, you write 3 awesome things that happened that day, and 1 thing that maybe would have made it a little better. 5 minutes or less, because I wasn't good at doing a whole big journal, even though that's a wonderful thing to do. And then I try to exercise. So I was at the gym early today, working out, and then off on my day.
What would you say to people that find excuses that they don't have time for these kind of things?
Well, my first meditation teacher told me if you don't have time to meditate, you're way too busy. But just set your alarm earlier. And the thing is, I just started actually doing a mindfulness class at the bank you were at. And even just 1 conscious breath. You don't have to sit in meditation for 20 minutes. Just 1 inhale, an exhale, and just focus on that. That's a little mini meditation, a little micro meditation. So start out small. Start it with something easy.
Start out with small steps.
Yeah, 1 conscious breath. Can you do that?
Everybody can do
Everyone do that.
Yeah, sure. You wrote many books, which you can also mention in these questions, but which books would you recommend for entrepreneurs to develop as persons, or maybe in business, that really maybe inspired you? Or
Yeah, so the first book that really inspired me is a book called The Magic of Believing. It was written many, many years ago. It was old when I first read it. The author's name is Claude Bristol, and it first had me thinking about how important it is to focus on positive thoughts.
Okay.
And it just resonated. I just knew that made sense. Oh my gosh, there's so many books that I love. More recently, there's a book called The Untethered Soul
Okay.
that
What
I
is
read.
it about?
It's about processing things that come through your life so that you can just let them go and move on to something that's more positive. For business owners, well, I'll pause here and say Picture Your Prosperity is the book that I've recently written.
Can you tell us more about it, maybe?
Yeah, so it's a personal finance book, but it really marries the tactical things you can do along with mindset. And we walk people through a visual financial plan. There's 32 images right in the book, so it starts your prosperity picture, so you don't have to worry about finding images online or in magazines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you give any practical tip how to start working on your, I don't know, money perspective, maybe?
Yeah, if I had to say,
daily life.
Yeah, if I had to say 3 things off the top, it would be to be a really good saver. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you need to spend less than you earn.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So saving automatically, giving automatically. I take a percentage of my income to give to causes, people, things that I think are important. I take that off the top along with savings.
Okay.
And so being a great saver, being a good giver.
What if you're afraid of investing? Like you just want to keep your money to yourself because you're afraid that you will lose it, and that's why you don't invest in your business.
Oh, well, that's a mistake to not invest in your business.
Yeah, but many clients have this kind of problem. Especially women.
Right. So I think one thing I was really good at right away was hiring people to do stuff I'm not good at.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that you're right. Sometimes women are afraid to invest in their business, but if you're not going to invest in yourself, who are you going to invest in? And if you really believe in what you're doing, now I don't mean invest to the point you're not going to be okay, but make sure you have a little bit of an emergency fund, or a friend of mine calls it a solutions fund, because it's more positive than thinking about an emergency. And then it's hard to grow a business if you're not willing to invest in it. And same thing with investing in yourself. I spent a lot of money over the years on personal development, and I look at that as an investment as well.
What about marketing? Do you use marketing as a tool?
Yeah, you have to use marketing.
What's your perspective about marketing?
Well, marketing is really letting people know that you're out there, right? And there's all different ways to do it. So some of it is in-person marketing, so networking. Who do you know? How can you support them? Obviously social media, I'm not an expert on that. But in terms of investing in your business, I'm also a believer personally in hiring people to help you do what you need to do.
Yeah, and that you are not expert in. So
I can't be. So I just hired someone to help us with a whole social media strategy, because things change all the time. And what I was taught 4 years ago doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah, the strategy changes, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things to think about is, if you invest this money, how many new clients or customers will you need to get to recoup it? So,
do you think a marketing strategy is important for your business?
Well,
did it help you? Like,
how can you grow a business if you don't have some marketing strategy?
Perfect. Perfect. This is a perfect answer. Yeah, but a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have a marketing strategy, so they're like all over the place, confused, not confident, and I think it's something that it's very important. Like,
it is, and it comes back. Look, if you're not comfortable with the marketing side of things or the sales side of things, get someone to coach you or get someone to do it for you. Because otherwise, how are you going to possibly grow your business, and how are you going to give your gifts to the world and serve as many people as you possibly can in doing the good work that you do if no one knows that you're out there? You have to do that.
You're a consultant to huge companies. Do you also have your own coaches or mentors?
Oh my gosh, I have for years. I have had a business coach for 26 years. I have a coach who helps me in my speaking. I have 2 coaches that do that. I just hired the social media coach. Yeah, I'm not someone... I'm not a big do-it-yourselfer. Oh, I had a video coach. I had all sorts of things. And some people want to do it all themselves. That's fine, but you know that you can't leverage your time or your money as well that way. So you have to decide for yourself. But I'm very coachable, and I'm big into having people who are experts at what they do help me become expert.
Exactly, because you cannot be the best in everything.
No.
If you want to do everything by yourself, you're just average then.
Yeah, and I think that an important thing to do as an entrepreneur is to really look at, what are you a rock star at? What are you really good at? And what are you not so good at? And sometimes we all have to do things that we don't love or we're not good at, but if you spend all of your time in your business doing those things that really aren't what your unique abilities are, or what you're really good at, it's going to be very hard to grow your business by doing that.
How to discover what you're passionate about? Maybe when you were young, do you have any experiences? Like, what did you do to discover this field? By coincidence?
No, that's really interesting. Some of it's by accident. I mean, when I was growing my financial advisory practice, I did it through speaking, and little did I know I would love doing that. Yeah. Like, that wasn't my initial intention. So sometimes it's trial and error. That is one of the benefits of journaling or self-reflection, is then you can hear those good answers. Because if you're always running around and always staring at your device, it's pretty hard to get clear.
Exactly. Yeah, some are too all over the place and multitasking, and it's really hard to find the real thing for you. Yeah. So my last question for you would be, what would be your advice to entrepreneurs that are limiting themselves with their beliefs, like that they are not good enough, that they are like afraid of growing, expanding?
Who are you to not put your gifts out into the world? Who are you not serving by being afraid? And I've said this to myself over the years, like, how can I not play bigger in the world? I know I have a message to share, and who is not being served because I'm afraid to get out there? So my question to you is, who is missing out on your brilliance because you are not being out there? And believe me, you have brilliance. So if you're questioning it, you are here for a reason, and you're here to do your amazing work in the world. And so I really encourage you to get out there and share your gifts.
Okay, and I encourage you to find Ellen online. Where can we find you, Ellen?
Yeah, so sure. If you go to ellenrogin.com, that's ELLENROGIN.com, there's some free resources there for you. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you for staying with us. Leave us a comment. What did you think about this interview? Ellen, thank you for being my guest and sharing all your knowledge. I think it was very powerful and very valuable to the people listening to us. So
Well, thank you. I'm
very
so
much.
honored to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. See you next video. Bye bye.